Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Thrive and Five podcast. I hope you're having a lovely day so far. Whether you are listening to this on your commute, on your lunch break, when you really should be doing some work, don't worry, I won't tell anybody. Whenever you're listening, I hope you're having a great day so far. One of the biggest reasons that weight loss feels harder for professional women, and it's something we've been talking about a lot this week, the idea of weight loss being more difficult for professional women, because it is. One of the biggest reasons, and one of the reasons that most online coaches fail to help professional women, is because they don't understand the unique challenges we face with our routine. Routine is one of the hardest things for professional women when it comes to weight loss. We are juggling a million and one things, work, family, social commitments, all of the day-to-day tasks, the mental loads that demand our attention. We have so many plates in the air, if that's the metaphor. It's a huge amount to do. And having a consistent routine is really tough to achieve. You've got meetings, deadlines, other responsibility. It can feel like you're always trying to find a routine that works for you, and it can be really challenging. And the fact is, having a routine is really important for fat loss. It makes weight loss so much easier. Weight loss doesn't happen overnight. As much as it would be great to eat in a calorie deficit for one day, to eat less and move more for one day, and then suddenly see the scales drop, it doesn't work like that. It requires consistent effort over time. It requires our bodies to want to drop that body fat and not hang on to it. And so we have to put things in place to encourage our bodies to do that. And that often takes time. Having routine makes doing that stuff easier. It makes it easier to put in that consistent effort over time because we can do the same things every day and it becomes simpler and we don't have to think about it as much. Routine also helps us to regulate appetite and energy. When we go to bed at a sensible time every single day and we do that consistently, we get up at the same time every day and do that consistently. When we eat at regular times, when we drink enough water, when we have things in place, our bodies are happy. Our bodies are creatures of habit. Our bodies love equilibrium. They love consistency. They love to kind of know what's coming. They like having clarity about what's ahead. They're a bit like us, to be honest. And when we have those things in place, our energy levels are more steady. We don't get as hungry. It makes it much easier to stay on track with our diet. So that's another reason that routine is really important and helpful when it comes to weight loss. And stress makes everything harder. When we are stressed, it affects our sleep, it affects our eating habits, it affects our energy. It makes it harder to maintain a healthy routine. Stress really makes things harder for professional women when it comes to weight loss. Not to mention, being a professional woman, your schedule changes daily. I remember chatting to someone once and them asking me like what I had coming up the following week. And I was like, you tell me. Like, I have no idea what my diary is going to look like one day to the next. It's a very common thing for most professional women. We don't know what our diaries have. You might have certain pillars in your diary in terms of like committee meetings or particular catch-ups you have or certain deadlines you might have to do. If you're working in a financial role, you might have like the monthly reporting cycle. There was a period of time when I worked as a strategy analyst where a lot of my work was quite predictable around the bank's reporting cycles. So every quarter I'd have certain things going on, but there are lots of different things happening. One day you might be working from home, next day you might be commuting, one day you might have a day of back-to-back meetings on the laptop, the next day it might be lots of running around to meetings. You might have one day where you have nothing in your diary at all and you're like, what has happened here? Having those consistent changes in your routine makes it harder to stick to a set plan. Plus, being a professional woman, it's not just our jobs, right? Like, we have all this other stuff going on with family, social commitments, all of these things that eat up the time you have outside of work. So finding room for a healthy routine within that when you have different things popping up is really, really hard. It makes things really difficult. And as I said, stress makes it even harder to stick to a routine because you've got stuff coming in. You almost feel like you have a plan in place and then it gets bulldozed by something coming up, stress, and it all becomes much, much harder. And the fact is, most fitness coaches don't get this. Oh my God, I worked with so many coaches who did not understand what I was dealing with and the struggle that I had. And the conflict I used to come up against with a lot of coaches and a lot of PTs that I worked with, or even like people on the internet, like fitness influencers. I'd be watching what they'd be talking about in terms of weight loss. I'd be trying to look at their content to try and like learn what I needed to do. And I was like, you just don't get it. Most people who work in the fitness industry haven't experienced the daily grind of a busy career. They haven't experienced the commute into London. They have jobs that allow them to go to the gym whenever they want to, that allow them to eat whenever they want to. They don't understand the challenge that comes with not being in control of your own calendar. they don't understand how unpredictable our schedules are. They don't understand that stuff can pop up at a moment's notice and completely derail what you're doing. And even if they say they do understand, they might understand it, but they don't have the solution to help you with it. And that was the thing that I found the most frustrating. I had one coach in particular. This guy just did not get what I did for a living. He did not understand my job. He did not understand that I was at that time working a job that involved being in the office 5 days a week. But he did not get that meant that I wasn't in control of my diary for a lot of that time. So he'd be like, well, can't you just go to the gym at lunchtime? I was like, mate, I'd love to go to the gym at lunchtime, but like I get 20 minutes if I'm lucky for a lunch. I try and take like a lunch break, but things come up, right? Like I can't just go to the gym in my lunch break. Or I remember him once saying to me, like, well, can't you just like bring in some like snacks to have in the office? I was like, yes, I can do that. And he was like, good, okay, this is what you should bring. And then gave me something that involved like tuna pasta. And I was like, I can't put tuna pasta in the microwave. Like, I'll get fired. Like, I can't do that. Like, he could not compute that what I did for a living and what would actually work for me. But then I also had coaches who were like, I understand, I get that you're really busy, but you need to do 12,000 steps a day. And I was like, that's not going to happen. I have not got 12,000. I have not got space in my diary to do 12,000 steps a day. The problem is a lot of these coaches are giving you generic advice. They're telling you to just make the time, to just go and do this. They make it sound really simple when it doesn't address the root cause of the problem. Telling us to just eat less and move more, telling us to just get to the gym, to get up earlier, to go to bed on time, like that stuff is so generic. It doesn't work. That's not how it works. Just telling us what to do isn't helpful. We need to find a routine that fits the real life challenges of professional women, not a one size fits all plan, and a plan that tells you the how as well as the what. That is why most coaches don't get how to help professional women. They don't get this particular thing in particular. They don't get routine. They find it very difficult. And that is why I created the Routine Reset. So this is a 30-day program that I've put together. This honestly is, God, I wish I'd had this back in the day. This would have made my life so much easier. It's basically here to help you build a routine that works for you. It is designed by a professional woman for a professional woman, and it's designed for someone who wants to stick to their weight loss goals even when life gets chaotic. It's a 30-day program. At the end of the 30 days, you will be in a place where you're not scrambling to get last-minute takeaways. You've not got a load of healthy food going off in the bottom of the fridge. You've actually had a food plan in place with easy, healthy, delicious meals. You're not going to be stressing about your step count because you're going to have ways to stay active without needing to go to the gym. You're going to go to bed on Sunday, not stressing about starting again on Monday. You're going to have a routine that works for you and you'll feel ready to continue into the next week. And what this is going to give you is the routine. It's going to give you the underpinning so that when it comes to your diet, when it comes to whatever you're doing for fat loss, it allows you to stay on track with that, to stick to it, even during stressful weeks, even during those times where you're like, wow, there is so much going on. And that's going to mean that it makes weight loss so much easier. This is specific. This is not that generic one size fits all bullshit that most coaches are pumping out. This is something that is realistic and that actually works for professional women. It's launching tomorrow. I will talk about it a little bit more on the podcast, but this is the main kind of bulk of me talking about it. So it launches tomorrow on my Instagram. Do go have a look at it at amytyler.tfp. Keep your eyes peeled for it. I'll be talking about it lots over the coming days on my Instagram, a little bit on the podcast. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled. Love to have you on board. That is why, guys, you need to get your routine right. Everything else will be easier.